The principles on which this country were founded are almost perfectly embodied in Bitcoin, right? It's just money that can't be stolen. It's a market you can freely enter or exit. It's an amazing technological manifestation of American ethos. And that's what I think, that's why I'm beating this drum. I call gold or Bitcoin monetary capitalism as central banking compared to central banking, which is monetary socialism. And people get into the weeds about, oh, that's not socialism, this is socialism. But at the end of the day, I just say it's, capitalism means you have the rights to the fruits of your labor. Socialism meaning the state has a greater or lesser right to the fruits of your labor. And I think no matter, to answer the question about what can governments do if they can't print money, I think it's very important. Even when we say printing money, it's a euphemism, right? You're creating more debt, and what you're actually doing when you're quote unquote printing money is it can only do one thing, and that is create wealth inequality. It reallocates wealth from some and allocates it to others. You're not creating any new wealth. Wealth being like the capital we create, or in the process of economizing human action. Nothing new is coming into existence when you're creating new paper dollars or new entry at the Federal Reserve's database. There's no new wealth created, which is a very common fallacy. So in that sense, printing money, it can only create wealth inequality. Now, is that justified? There's a whole lot of nuance there, right? Who are you taking from? Who you're giving to? What is the purpose? But I would say in general, no matter which way you cut it, it's antithetical to capitalism. Because if someone has an ability to siphon wealth stealthily out of your back pocket, that's not engaging in a free market transaction. No one consented to that. Taxpayers don't consent to that. Users of dollars don't consent to that. So I like to actually say that, I forget the quote, every tool is a weapon if you hold it right. So it's like, I think maybe printing money has some usefulness, like essentially managing a money supply. Maybe it did, but I don't think it has fitness in the modern age. It just doesn't make sense to steal from someone and give to others. And something Corey touched on was there were experiments done with free banking. I think it was in Scotland in the 18th, 19th century. And they showed a lot of success. It was just freely competitive banking. There was very minimal state control and intervention. It wasn't a long experiment because of some conflict with England, I believe, but there was some promise shown there. So we have a little kind of a test tube for what a free banking system could look like. The rest of it's just theoretical because, frankly, governments have always commandeered the banking system. Just it's the means of control. And I actually say this in the piece that, contrary to the common refrain that money is the root of all evil, or love of money is the root of all evil, that money is actually the root of all sovereignty, right? So it gives us the authority to act as we see fit in the world. So I think if in a hard money world where people are incentivized to hold savings, that wouldn't be as relevant of a question. It's like, what can governments do to resolve economic calamities? I think it would be much less relevant of a question because people would be figuring it out at the local level. Like markets would be adapting dynamically in real time, making do with what they have. And so it's interesting because it's people that have lived under this fiat paradigm for 100 some odd years. We almost have to question our a priori assumptions. Like, how are we, even when we say printing money, like, what are we talking about? Is that an actual thing that should exist? Is it morally good? We take it as the norm. You see what I'm saying? And there's a number of things like that. But yeah, to Corey's point, America laid down this protocol justly. That's what the principles of the country were founded upon. And the implementation of the central bank violated that, right? That's when we got back. We had basically respect for private property rights. Central bank got through and instituted itself to get back to violating people's private property rights via money printing. So, I think we really are fighting. In fighting for Bitcoin, we're fighting for one American ideal.